Listen, I'm going to just speak from common sense here because what we're seeing right now in the WNBA is absolutely wild. And it's got nothing to do with basketball and everything to do with narratives, power plays, and ego. So we got Napheesa Collier, a star player, face of a franchise, and someone who is supposed to represent the players in the league, making serious public allegations against the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, and then turning around and canceling the meeting that she herself scheduled to address those claims. Let's unpack this with logic, not emotion. Collier claimed that Engelbert said Caitlin Clark is the only reason the WNBA is getting attention, and even went as far as alleging the commissioner told players they should get on their knees and be thankful for the deals she secured. Now, let's just pause right there and unpack that because if you really believe that the commissioner said that, if that's your story and you went public with it, then why would you back out of a private meeting with her? That's where things don't make sense. It start making sense for me because if I'm being lied on, I want that meeting. If I told the truth and I was being called a liar in front of the world, I definitely want that meeting. And I want to walk with receipts. I want to speak my piece and I want to look that person in the eye and say, this is what you said, and this is how it made me feel, and this is how we gonna fix it. That's what a leader does. That's what accountability looks like. That's what maturity and professionalism looks like. But instead, we get a disappearing act, and you can't call someone out on social media and then make headlines off the strength of your accusations and then retreat into silence when the person you're accusing pushes back and say, nope, that's not what happened. That's not strength. That's not leadership. That's narrative manipulation, plain and simple. So what's even more interesting is that Kathy Engelbert didn't even dodge the question when she was asked directly about the Caitlin Clark comment. She gave a clear, flat out denial, and she didn't dance around and she didn't offer any vague political answer. She said, "No, I didn't say that." Now, when it came to the get on your knees line, she didn't deny it as strongly. Instead, she said what Collier said was inaccurate, that maybe the words were misrepresented or taken out of context. Now, listen. That's a pretty big deal because it shows that Kathy isn't just outright shutting everything down, but she is drawing the line in the sand between what was actually said and what's being claimed, right? And that means there's a nuance here. And Collier owes it to the players she represents to get in that room and hash the nuance out. Especially as someone with a leadership role in the Players Association, you have a responsibility to put your feelings aside and show up for those 155 other women in the league. Now, and I held Kathy Engelbert responsible in my recent video. Go check it out about her not just saying the truth and outright calling it what it is and being transparent. But now I got to hold Fee accountable because now you saying she said these things, but you got to be the bigger person to have this uncomfortable truth dialogue that clearly she doesn't want to be straight out and say the truth in regards to what she's saying because Kathy Engelbert want to rise defense and not straight out deny things, but not straight out say that is true. So it doesn't make you look as a big of a leader either, in a way, because now you in your feelings. And this isn't about your ego. This is about the livelihoods, the careers, the contracts of the woman in the WNBA. And you can't lead a union through a storm if you're going to duck the hard conversation because your feelings got hurt. Because we all know that Kathy Engelbert said, because we know Napheesa Collier plays for the Minnesota Lynx, that only losers complain. Only the ones that lose complain because she's out of the playoff run and they didn't make it to the playoffs and so forth. And I gotta say, losers do complain. I gotta give Kathy that part to be objective. But let's be real here. If someone says something to me in private and felt disrespected, then I came out and told the world about it, and that person said I was lying, that's even more reason for me to sit down face to face and have a respectful conversation. And you don't ghost a negotiation with the person you just accused of disrespecting the entire player base, especially if you think you have the truth on your side. Because if the truth is on your side, you should be able to walk in that meeting proud, head high, chest out, and everything you got lined up in black and white. but canceling the meeting makes it look like you never had receipts in the first place. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? Unrivaled. Because the new league that Napheesa Collier has an ownership stake in. Now, I'm not going to throw around conspiracy theories without evidence, but let's use some logic here for a second. If you're invested in a competing league and you start painting a current league as corrupt, untrustworthy, and run by someone who doesn't respect the players, isn't that great marketing for your own venture? Because I believe that if she's going to be having some stake in Unrivaled, then she's not going to be able to truly, and this can be speculation, I'm not saying this is true, but you can have more bias to your own business, but then you're trying to represent another business. And then I don't feel like it will go well because then you're going to make sure Unrivaled is on top of the WNBA. You get where I'm going with this, family? Let me know down in the comments below. But you can't try to represent your own and then try to demonize the WNBA where you started and also represent the players within that, because now things will get a little bit murky because let's stop pretending like there aren't business motives behind some of these emotional moves. You get where I'm going with this? So the truth is the timing of this is all incredibly convenient, not based on top of Unrivaled getting monies, right? And the league, let's see, Unrivaled. Unrivaled just recently brought in, well, let me see. This was recent with Unrivaled. September 8th. Unrivaled announces a valuation of $340 million after its inaugural season. League president Alex Brazell told ESPN how this will expedite the league's growth. So if you look at that evaluation, right, with Unrivaled, with the $340 million, and now Fee is supposed to be defending the players and she getting all in her emotions and canceling meetings over here with Kathy Engelbert. I don't know, man. It makes things look like it makes things look type questionable. Now, I'm not saying this is true. This is just my speculation. I want to put that out there. But hmm, something seems off with that, right? They have invested over $340 million for season 2. Hmm. So are professionals and players just looking for something other than the WNBA? So where I'm getting at with this is, when you look at all of this based on, and then adding my speculation, if you're invested in a competing league and you start painting the current league as corrupt, untrustworthy, and run by someone who doesn't respect the players, isn't that a great market venture? Isn't that a great way to sow distrust in the WNBA and turn public support towards something new? Come on now, you know where I'm going with this. So let's stop pretending the business motive. The finals just kicked off. The WNBA has momentum. Raiders are up. But instead of focus on the game, the story becomes Kathy Engelbert disrespected the players and one of the biggest names in the league refuses to meet with her. That takes attention away from basketball, and that disrupts trust and leadership, and that creates instability, which just so happened to benefit anyone looking to promote an alternative league. I'm not saying that was the plan, but I'm saying the incentives are worth looking at. And let's talk about accountability, because a lot of people in the comments and on social media are calling this out for what it is: immature, unprofessional, and damaging to the league. If you got beef, settle it behind closed doors, and I'm gonna leave it there. But this move right here, I gotta hold Napheesa Collier accountable. This was a chicken move. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.